What if the world's most iconic luxury brand didn't start with wealth, but with a 13-year-old boy's bold decision to walk 300 miles to Paris? How did Louis Vuitton, a simple trunk maker, transform his small workshop into a global empire that would change the way we travel, dress, and define status? From groundbreaking designs to surviving copycats, legal battles, and shifting consumer demands, Louis Vuitton has faced countless challenges on its path to the top. How did it stay relevant for over 160 years? And what's the secret behind its timeless appeal? Stick around as we take you through the extraordinary story of Louis Vuitton, where ambition, craftsmanship, and vision collide to create one of the most influential brands in history. Louis Vuitton was born in 1821 in Angers, a modest village tucked away in the mountains of eastern France. His family lived a simple life, and from a young age, Louis knew that if he wanted more, he'd have to earn it himself. At just 13 years old, he made a bold decision. He would leave his home and head to Paris. But there was no money for travel, no shortcuts. He walked the entire way. Over the course of 2 years, he made the 300-mile journey on foot, taking odd jobs along the way to survive. What kind of teenager makes that kind of sacrifice just for a chance at a better life? Louis wasn't just chasing money, he was chasing purpose. Once in Paris, he found work as an apprentice for a successful trunk maker named Monsieur Maréchal. This was a turning point. During his time there, Louis observed how travel was changing. Wealthy clients were moving more frequently, often by train or ship, and they needed luggage that could keep up with the times. Most bags at the time were bulky, round-topped, and difficult to transport. Louis started asking questions. Why couldn't luggage be both practical and elegant? Why did it always have to be difficult to stack or carry? These small observations planted the seeds of innovation that would eventually grow into one of the most iconic brands in fashion history. In 1854, Louis Vuitton opened his own workshop in Paris on Rue Neuve des Capucines. Here, he introduced something the world hadn't seen before: flat-topped trunks made with lightweight, waterproof canvas. Unlike the traditional round-top trunks that couldn't be stacked and were prone to damage, Vuitton's design was a game changer. It was practical, stylish, and built for the modern traveler. But what made people start paying attention? It wasn't just the look, it was the function. These trunks were easy to pack, easy to carry, and made with attention to detail that only a true craftsman could offer. For the first time, luggage wasn't just about transporting belongings. It was about doing it with intelligence and class. As demand for his work grew, so did the challenges. Competing trunk makers began copying his designs, trying to cash in on the growing reputation of Vuitton's craftsmanship. This forced Louis to think not just like a maker, but like a protector of his brand. He began experimenting with different canvas patterns and materials to create a unique identity that couldn't be easily imitated. What would you do if your success became your biggest vulnerability? Louis didn't back down. He pushed forward with innovation and precision. He wasn't just building trunks anymore. He was building the foundation for a brand that would eventually stand for quality, prestige, and timeless design. When Louis Vuitton passed away in 1892, the brand was still growing, but it hadn't yet reached its full potential. That responsibility fell to his son, Georges Vuitton. Georges wasn't just interested in preserving his father's legacy. He had his own vision for the future. He realized that imitation was becoming a serious threat to the brand's identity. To fight back, he introduced the iconic LV monogram canvas in 1896, featuring floral patterns and the intertwined initials LVE. At first glance, it was just a design, but in reality, it was a clever shield. Why did George focus so much on branding? Because he knew that in the world of luxury, authenticity is everything. And with that, he planted the seeds for one of the most recognizable logos in the world. But George didn't stop at design. He looked outward. He began expanding the business beyond France, opening stores internationally, and presenting their products at global exhibitions like the 1900 Paris World's Fair. Georges understood that Louis Vuitton couldn't stay a local luxury. It had to become a global standard. What good is quality if the world doesn't see it? He made sure the Vuitton name traveled just as far as the trunks themselves. Under his leadership, the brand transformed from a family business into a luxury empire in the making. Georges didn't just inherit the name, he elevated it, setting a standard that future generations would have to meet or exceed. By the late 20th century, Louis Vuitton had already cemented itself as a respected name in travel goods. But the luxury market was changing fast. In 1987, a bold move reshaped its future. Louis Vuitton merged with two other powerful French brands, Moet et Chandon, and Hennessy, forming LVMH, a luxury conglomerate that would go on to dominate the industry. This wasn't just a business move, it was a shift in mindset. Louis Vuitton was no longer just a high-end trunk maker. Now it had the resources, network, and influence to become a global luxury powerhouse. Why did this matter? Because being part of LVMH gave the brand the strength to expand while still guarding its identity. With this backing, Louis Vuitton started stepping into new product categories: handbags, accessories, shoes, watches, and eventually even fragrances. Each expansion wasn't random. It was strategic, with a clear focus on maintaining the elegance and precision the brand was built on. Could a company known for luggage make fine jewelry or fashion? Louis Vuitton proved it could, by doing it their way. Their stores became more than just shops. They were carefully crafted experiences, designed to represent a lifestyle. Under LVMH, the brand kept its roots, but widened its reach, attracting both traditional luxury buyers and a newer, younger generation who wanted not just products, but a symbol of status. As Louis Vuitton grew into a global symbol of wealth and sophistication, it also became one of the most counterfeited brands in the world. From street vendors to fake online marketplaces, LV knockoffs were everywhere. How do you protect a brand when everyone wants to copy it? The company began investing heavily in legal teams, intellectual property protection, and tech-driven authentication methods. But this wasn't just about fighting fakes. It was about defending the reputation they had spent over a century building. When people buy a Louis Vuitton product, they're not just paying for leather and stitching, they're paying for history, craftsmanship, and status. Allowing that to be diluted would mean losing the very thing that made the brand valuable in the first place. Louis Vuitton stores today feel more like luxury art galleries than retail spaces. Everything is intentional, from the lighting and displays to the architecture and layout. Products are released not just to be sold, but to be experienced. And beyond fashion, LV continues expanding into areas like fragrances, jewelry, and high-end travel accessories. Louis Vuitton doesn't just respond to culture, it helps shape it. And that's why, after all this time, it still stands as one of the most powerful names in luxury. Louis Vuitton's journey is a testament to innovation, resilience, and staying true to one's roots. From humble beginnings to global domination, this brand has truly stood the test of time. If you enjoyed exploring this iconic story, Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories from the world of luxury and beyond.